Welcome to episode 319 of the Red Dirt Agronomy Podcast. I am Dave Deacon, and we've got a pretty fun episode for you. We're talking with the new Jason Warren, Dr. Danny Adamson. Dr. Adamson became Oklahoma State University's Extension Soil and Water Conservation Specialist back in September, and he's been busy hitting the road learning about Oklahoma soils. Also, since we chatted last, the state got a great and long overdue drink of water. In fact, all of the mesonet sites across Oklahoma received at least 4 inches of rain over the past 30 days, and many of the sites had about a foot of rain in that time. That rain woke up many of the winter crops and pastures across the state, and we'll get an update from the doctors on how those look. Before we do that, go ahead and hit that subscribe button like a referee slapping the mat after the Cowboys score a pin, wherever you get your podcasts. And remember, you can find information about what we talk about in this and past episodes on our website, reddirtagronomy.com. Let's kick things off with an introduction to the dream team of dirt and everything that grows from it. Let's start with Oklahoma State University Extension Precision Nutrient Management Specialist.
Once you find out what you're doing, you're like, screw this, I'm out.
Dr. Brian Arnall. And across from him is Oklahoma State University Extension Cropping System Specialist.
Just in case you aren't viewing this podcast on your local viewing station,
Dr. Josh Lofton. But we also have a special guest sitting in with us, a recent plant and soil sciences graduate.
As long as they don't change the pattern. A, B, C, D, C, B, A. That's outside of our expertise.
Dr. Radon Sherry. Now that we have all the formalities out of the way, we'll dive into this episode with an update on summer crop harvest and winter crop progress across the southern Great Plains. This was recorded on November 21st, 2024. You are listening to the Red Dirt Agronomy Podcast. So, Brian, since last time we recorded, we've actually had some rain at the farm. We actually had 10 inches at our farm between Perry and Stillwater, and kind of talk about how things are going across the state.
You know, it's a interesting time. So the folks that dusted in, we've got the wheat's coming up, looking really good.
Yeah.
The stuff that we talked about last time that was hurting,
yes,
looks phenomenally good. Although I'm confused whether it's wheat or rye that I'm looking at in these fields.
They all graze the same.
It's all graze the same. You're 100% right. And so overall, the amount of green is really phenomenal. Research-wise, you know, the fun thing about our research programs is that we run small equipment and no-till when it hasn't rained for 120 days means we don't do anything.
Yeah.
So we're still kind of in queue. We had 2 or 3 days of runtime before it rained again, and now we're out till probably about the time that this airs, we'll probably be rolling heavy. Some observations that I think people need to be aware of that been making is that if we look at anybody that pulled a pre-plant soil test in this wheat crop, you pulled it during the time frame where we were dry, as we've talked about a lot. Once those soils dry out post-wheat harvest or post-whatever harvest, it really shuts down the microbial activity and therefore the microbial decomposition of wheat straw. And I'm really thinking of the graze-out scenarios where we had wheat, we tilled things back in, and so we've got that. So typically when we come into planting during a drought, we'll see elevated nitrate levels. So a lot of folks that got their soil test done probably seen some higher nitrate than they would expected. Anywhere between 20 to 50 pounds is pretty common. The second this rain hit, so our first rain about 2 weeks ago, we were still warm, right? So we got that 5 or 6 inches, but our soil temps were 50, 60 plus.
Right.
I've already seen stuff that the pre-plant nitrates were 40 pounds, was yellowing up already. So all those microorganisms getting after that straw is consuming the nitrate, the visual nitrate that you had. So having a yellow flash is very likely in a lot of places that didn't go pre. And so one of the recommendations, if you're grazing, go ahead and once we dry, you're not hurting anything yet. We're in a slow period. Go ahead and look at getting some nitrogen out. We're going to be at a tie-up, and we can't predict when that will come back. If you're grain only, tons of research, and we can even talk about some of the new sorghum work that Josh has been doing that he's looking at. being yellow on grain-only wheat is not bad. In fact, I think we have plenty of data that suggests that I will make more if I have deficiency.
Yeah.
So don't fret over that. Springtime applications, I got a lot of the farmers I'm working with are looking at maybe a late December, January shot to get some on, just to move things and then top it off. I'd also say some of the wheat producers out there that looked at the market, looked at the fertilizer price and said, and look at the moisture, said, I'm not spending money.
Yeah.
We've got enough data that says if you are short on P and K and you did not apply it, while it's not the best case scenario, go ahead and get it out in the spring. Put it out in December, January, February, whenever the ground dries, and you'll get added benefit of top dress P and K in our wheat crop. So now that we got moisture, now that we got a stand, now we can start thinking about making investments in this crop to extend that harvest out, that yield out, and get some better numbers.
So I got a question for you then, Brian. So we've had a lot more moisture in a really condensed time than we usually have in the fall.
Yeah.
And so even any residual nitrogen that was there had probably been moved down in the profile, I would assume.
Yeah.
So if the market turns around, like wheat price gets a little bit better, fertilizer price goes down, we see that wheat that's kind of just now coming up with these rains kind of looks really good in late December, early January. Do you put a small shot on it just to make sure it's there when that wheat greens up, just in case we don't have good conditions when it truly greens up to help it pace it along until that big green up shot, or not at all?
You've got the CYA approach and you've got my research approach, so I'll give you both. So the CYA approach is exactly what I'm telling you. Is the guys that I know are thinking about 10 gallons UAN. They're thinking about 100 pounds of urea going out in December, January, pre-green up, just so they feel better. Radin's looked at it. I've looked at it. And I would have told you 5 years ago that's what you do.
Mm-hmm.
We go back through wet years, dry years, and we can't find a year in the last 18 years of data that suggests we should do more than one application sometime in the spring. And so this is my deal. If you know how much you're putting on, put it on at one time and save that $7 or $8 of application. Just do it in January. Mm-hmm. If you're wanting to use like Green Seeker, if you're wanting to use something, or if you listen to me and heard and believe that you can wait, do it then. It's an applicator. If you own your own applicator, the guys that I know that are doing 40 own their own sprayer. So then you got some little bit of less cost. They honestly don't. Their December time might not be the busiest in January, so they have an open window to get a few things done, and so they feel better about getting it out. If you're relying on Mr. and Mrs. Co-op to come out and make your application, your time frame is January 15th through April 15th, and that's get it on when the weather is appropriate for you.
So the interesting thing is, some of the data that I've found on canola is suggesting that winter application helps bring us, if we miss that application until post-bolt. So physiologically, why do you think that canola benefits from it and wheat doesn't?
I'll go with the wheat. I think with the wheat, what we're learning and understanding is it's the tiller management and actual lack of tiller production in our environmental systems is critical. And I will say, I keep that one shot, and we don't even have the data, so this is just me saying it. The second I break 80 bushel potential, that I'm in a zone that is getting more than 80 bushel on a regular basis. And so we got plenty of pockets. If we go up towards north of Lamont in that country, Blackwell, that's 80, 90 bushel, pretty consistent. I want two shots. Give me that 40, 50 units in January, February. Come back and see, do I really have that 80 or 90 bushel potential? Then I load it up come spring. And so that 80 bushel has been the mark. I can consistently make 65, 75 all day long with a February, March shot. I do want more if I'm pushing that yield. I think it's tiller management in the less than 80 bushel. I don't want a lot of tillers. I think our yield loss or our yield benefit from delayed is not having so many tillers out there, that we're putting more berries per spike, so more spikelets per spike, so more berries per head. We're filling those heads out more fully when it comes. And I mean, anybody that sat in a combine in Oklahoma has seen tillers come in that the tiller has a head that's an inch tall, and there's not a berry going in, so that plant put resources into making that tiller, into making those berries that have such a small test weight they won't hit your bin. Canola, Mr. Canola, that's a whole other dog in itself. Yeah. We've got winter survivability, we've got root production, we've got biomass production, we've got a whole lot more. Wheat can get kicked, canola gets kicked.
Well, I think that that regrowth of those leaves, having something under it to regrow those leaves coming out of dormancy is so much more important in canola that it's not really in wheat.
Yeah.
And so if we kill back that rosette to the base and we don't have enough nutrients to grow anything back, then we're at a really small funnel feeding that plant where the wheat just doesn't. One, it doesn't have nearly as much dieback as canola does, and two, it doesn't. It has that elongated kind of vegetative period before it goes reproductive in the spring. And
canola's bolting so much quicker than wheat going into that boot stage. You've got a significant period of time, because when is your canola bolt? March?
Sometimes you don't know it break dormancy until it's already starting.
Yeah.
And that's the issue we've had in the last couple of years is we didn't regrow a whole lot of leaves from a moisture standpoint, and so then our yields were taken back because we didn't have that period, that longer vegetative period in the spring to help that plant come back around.
Are we seeing a benefit to the growth of the plants right now? From an insect standpoint, maybe not have the armyworms issue that we would have had earlier in the fall.
Well, I mean, we've got cold enough. We shouldn't have armyworms. They should be gone. Hopefully, we're down with that menace until the springtime rolls around. But I think
so. We may have dodged a bullet on that.
Those that got in early got the bullet smack in the face.
Well, but I mean the later planted ones.
The stuff that said it's a seed in the ground for 35, 45 days.
Yeah.
It's not going to have that fight. We should not be seeing armyworms march at this time of the year.
Yeah.
I'm not going to promise we don't, but we should not.
And I tell you what, as somebody that doesn't work in wheat a lot, and me and Raiden have talked about that whole wheat's not always the best yielding. It doesn't bring you the best economics sometimes, but the flexibility of being able to put a dang seed in the ground for 40 days and then be like, oh, look, stands are perfect. There's something that just says to that.
It says Oklahoma farming's what it says right
Well,
now.
In these conditions, you got to adapt your crops to the conditions that you're given. And in these conditions, I mean, going back, it's why wheat has such a place in this state is because throw it in the ground 30 days ago and look at her go.
By the way, I want to tell you how proud I am of my co-host here, of Dr. Josh Lofton, who has for years called himself, I do everything but wheat. He had to present at ASA, our national societies, about the importance of wheat.
Wow.
But you know what I said.
It's dominions across
wheat's
better.
Just a really good residue. It's just so flexible that we almost always have that residue in the system, because from a guy here that doesn't work in wheat, that's all wheat brings to the table to me.
Yeah.
But I tell you what, that value of that residue is outstanding. Like, that's a really good residue, and we almost always have it. I mean, you rarely, like I said it there at the meetings, you rarely fail a wheat crop before you make something out of it.
It's so stable compared to every other option out there in our.
Yeah, even things like sorghum and corn. Mm-hmm. If you kill it, I mean, it can die early. The likelihood of wheat dying from now until April or March is reasonably low. I mean, we can find a way in Oklahoma to do it. I'm sure, but. Comparatively, it's reasonably low. We can lose a sorghum or a corn crop to a hailstorm.
Sometimes we even lose canola crops.
And sometimes you dust it in, and I don't know how it's going to do. So I don't know. That's the bad thing, is that the canola market for Oklahoma was looking very promising this year.
Yeah.
And just Mother Nature just didn't. Universally over the whole state, I think there are pockets that got in some good canola, but they're universally across the state a good market to maybe adapt some of those acres that didn't need to go into wheat because of the market. Mother Nature did not throw us that ball again. I have
6 unopened bags of canola seed that will do a lot of acres that are not planted. So Time to introduce our guest.
One last question, and this actually will work in there. I'm going off my neighbor's wheat field here. We had about 9 to 10 inches of rain, and in that time, wheat started to emerge, but there was also a lot of crusting of the soil in that. Do we replant, or because I'm helping him? Does he replant? Does he just let the plant fight through?
I mean, right now, grazing wheat.
This is grain only.
Grain only.
Yeah.
Right now, I mean, go check. See if it's popping up. With the moisture we had, those crusts, actually, the wheat should still pop through those crusts. Just take a look at it. Go out with a knife. Just go dig and see what you're seeing in there. If it's not coming up, if it's crawling under, then after Thanksgiving gets over, just drag that drill over the dead spots and put a little extra seed in the ground. You could even do that, and it'll break through, and then the stuff that's still stuck underneath can pop up. Yeah. And so, since you've got a lot of free time, Dave, why don't you just go do that for your neighbor?
I'll do that. I'll just kind of wander through his field, just pocket knife in hand, see what I can find.
I'm just with the grain drill. Yeah, that's what I would.
Yeah.
I will say, public service announcement here that if it's not for grain and it's for grazed, and we're hearing a lot of folks really start picking up interest in that spring planted oats and spring. We're seeing a lot of discussion about how thin seed is around. So
I was about to say, book your spring oats now.
If you want spring oats and if you want spring barley, spring trit, book it now, because there's a good chance by February it ain't going to be
There's
here.
a good chance by December 25th it's not
There's
here.
a good chance right now it's not going to be here.
There's a good chance it's already gone.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just wanted to play along.
But that's the thing, is if you are a grazed a cattleman that's looking for that extra, and you start booking it right now, because that's going to be really thin this year.
Wow, Josh, you and I we started something with that the spring oats, didn't we?
That sun up that you made me do without telling me I was doing it. So
many of our interviews started that way. We don't talk about. I don't know. I've heard something about oats. Okay.
Yeah,
it worked out well. Now the state is devouring oats. That's great. So tell us about our guests.
We have our new soil and water conservation specialist with us here, Danny, coming out of the great northern beyond, and deciding to come out. Was at Montana, is that correct?
Oh, cool.
No.
Not that far north.
Oh, see, this is why I don't introduce people.
Wyoming, Colorado.
Wyoming. Well, yeah,
okay.
because you did some consulting stuff out in Colorado. Yeah, but you were in your
I'm
program
from Wyoming.
in Wyoming.
I'm guilty of 3 degrees from Wyoming, and
There's nothing wrong with 3 degrees. It's okay.
excellent.
I like Wyoming. I don't know.
Yeah, did you?
Yeah, I'm a fan of Wyoming. Yeah.
No, I've never gone when the snow was up on the snow fences, and I'm sure, Danny, you've had plenty of experience with that.
I remember being a kid on the ranch one year. Everything was perfect, and the drifts in our machine yard got up to about 15 feet.
Wow.
It was kind of a good sledding year behind the house. But, that's not a normal occurrence.
So a couple of years ago, we went up there for Christmas. Our family travels every other Christmas, and we went to Du Bois.
Yep. You don't say it French. That's nothing fancy.
Yeah, I started to. Yeah, but we went up there and beautiful country. And the snow was great. We got 17 inches of snow in one night.
Oh, wow.
And they closed down the pass to go to Jackson Hole. Like, we were the last cars that came back through. And that's a really weird feeling, knowing that I could have been trapped on this this road that I don't know where I am or whatever.
Well, they mostly closed the highway for preventative measures, so you were safer than you probably thought you
okay,
were.
because I did not feel safe at all.
That's done it before.
You were fine.
Just get the chains out. You're fine.
I actually bought chains while I was up there. I'm the only
Prepared.
Oklahoman that has chains for a pickup around here. Oh, you have chains too?
Yeah.
Okay, nice.
I like to travel up that way.
Yeah.
But you spent your time up there in Wyoming, but you're I guess one of the special ones of us, at least now, that is CCA, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, so you have that certified crop
Where
advisor.
you were going with this? I'm like, whoa, you're throwing him under the bus quick.
But so you do have that CCA. You've spent those time working with growers in Colorado and all that, and like, bring that extra layer of experience to the program.
Well, thanks. If I can act like I know something, that's a benefit. That's the whole reason I got my CCA. I was a young agronomist. I just wanted to act like I had something to offer these guys. So I was like, well, let me put something on my business card with the logo.
So tell a little bit about what you've been doing for the last 5 or 6 years before dropping south.
Yeah. So I grew up on a ranch in southern Wyoming, and it was amazing. Taught me a lot about how to manage a landscape, which I think is where my heart's at. I like to say, I think my dad was a really great scientist. He was kind of a maybe out-of-the-box thinker as a rancher and did some things differently that worked really well for him. But getting ready to go to college, I was a little more interested in plants and soils, and so I followed that route. Did not have the experience in plants and soils as much because we really just had some perennial hay on the ranch. Otherwise, it was strictly cow-calf. So I didn't really have the confidence to go out and be a consultant or an agronomist, which was my aspiration. So I took an opportunity to do my master's degree in weed science, which was really good. Got me on a farm. My master's advisor had been an agronomist as well and had really good perspective on things and kind of big picture thinking about agriculture that I got a lot from. So then I went and got my dream job in northern Colorado and very shortly realized it was not my dream job. I like to say I came in with a Ph.D. in ag retail because I was very fortunate to really see how that world works, and it was really good for me, and even being somebody who grew up around agriculture, to see how people in a region are getting what they need and how those services are offered and what gets down on the ground and how people make decisions. And like you guys were talking earlier, about wheat and when to go out with some top dress or something. Some people forget how important it is, how busy your co-op is.
Yeah.
Everybody wants it at the same time. My voicemail list was a mile long on a Monday with some rain forecasted on Wednesday. You cannot imagine how many people would call. So great experiences. Like I said, I did go for the American Society of Agronomy Certified Crop Advisor route, which I think was a really good opportunity for me to just confirm to myself that I had a good baseline of knowledge to offer some folks. I would encourage anybody at any stage of their careers, young people who are really established, scientists as well. If it's one extra thing that gives you a vote of confidence and shows people that you're serious about what you're doing, then I think that's great. So
I've always been jealous. I've always wanted my CCA, but the day I hired on, I started writing the questions, and they won't let me take the CCA now.
little coyote in the hen house there.
Yeah. I think I could pass.
I was about to say the real question is, the questions, can you actually pass it still?
I've got to remember.
As long as they don't change the pattern. A, B, C, D, C, B, A. That's outside of our expertise.
So what was your dissertation?
So, like I said, my dream job quickly turned into reality. I really admire people who are good at sales. I was proficient. I don't think it was my calling nor something I was great at. So academia was calling, mostly from my consulting work and running into problems and having some background in science. So when in doubt, I looked to some good resources and realizing how many resources were lacking for the questions I was trying to answer for folks. Like we had a lot of spider mites in corn in that country, so I wanted a threshold, as I was scouting. Young guy, I don't really have any feel from experience, so some numbers would be helpful, and I was using a threshold out of the Texas Panhandle was the best thing I could find.
Oh, wow.
For northern Colorado. So just there are always questions that we can answer, and there is value in research. And I had an opportunity. One of my former professors got a nice grant to work on some fertility and soil health in flood irrigated hay meadows in Colorado and Wyoming. So I took that. It was a really good experience. I think it gave me a unique perspective on soil health that I hope to bring into this position as well.
I'm excited to have Danny on board. He's going to be a phenomenal addition. He may not get as excited at presentations or post-presentations as his predecessor.
I'm going to say he's pretty chill. This has been a great change.
It's a great change. See, you got a vote of confidence already. So.
I have to say, you guys, I was hoping my podcast voice was good because you guys all had this, you got the deep baritones here and Dave and Josh. And then Brian comes in kind of like a sports color commentator.
Yeah.
And then Jason
right.
came in with something like a lightning rod of information. So I didn't know if I had to speak a little differently today or
just draw them vowels out. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
And say, you know what I'm saying? Every once in a while.
So how are you with crackles? The birds that you find at Walmart.
Crackles. Crackles, not
crackles. I said crackles. It's crackles. I'm sorry. The scary birds
I'm
at Walmart.
realizing my weaknesses in bird watching abilities. Although I have noticed them, I am a fan of the podcast. People listening, be careful. You might end up on here someday.
Aspirations.
Yeah.
It's happened more than once. How long have you been in your current position?
Right. I've only been here since the 1st of September.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I have finished up some obligations in Wyoming and some sampling there. So I am diving in head first. It's important to me to figure out what Oklahoma's all about.
Yeah.
It's a new system for me.
Yeah.
But that's really exciting. I'm excited about the diversity of crops and diversity of climates in the state. I think that opens up this whole realm of things that you guys have been working on for a long time and that hopefully I can get into as well.
Well, it is kind of interesting because, coming from your predecessor, Jason, whenever he kind of really pushed to have this position rehired, everybody's like, well, nobody can replace you. And he's like, yeah, but it's going to look very different because I took it one direction. And he flat out said, we have Summit Sharma to do that now. So it really needs to go in a completely new direction. So he's like, don't rehire me, hire the position. Well, and your thought, that landscape approach, that big picture, I think is really something that we kind of need right now.
Well, this position, the soil water con, I think has been unique, and I'm quite jealous of it because the position has never been formed under one approach. You look at what I do or what Josh does, we kind of have to follow at least a framework of things. And that position, that soil water con, has been able to be a completely mobile and changed position. And if I look at what's been done over the last 30 years in that position, it's changed from tillage to nitrous to carbon sequestration to carbon sampling to water. It's just a very fluid position that you have a lot of ability to. One, you can sink your teeth into something and then see a societal or environmental change. Like, you know what? I think the importance needs to shift, and you can just jump right into something else with a lot of freedom that, I do fertility. I can't quite get away from fertility.
Sure. I'm really excited about that freedom, and I've sensed it. I'm like you guys, though. Extension's the foundation of this role for me, so I want those ideas to be producer driven. So I have had some opportunities to talk in the state so far and, trying to find my bearings in this position. Soil health is maybe a bit of a buzzword right now. It's an old concept, but it's gaining a lot of recognition again in a new era. And there's a lot of, focus on that in our federal government, state governments, and local entities. So I think those are some waters that will be important to swim in the future. The challenge with soil health is it's hard to quantify. It's something I feel like a lot of people have a good sense for, and it gives some long-term management goals that are good, but it's hard to sometimes make that data match up with what we're perhaps hoping for, or maybe sensing in some other qualitative ways. So I think it's worth investing some studies to really see how that works in Oklahoma, and it could work in very different ways across Oklahoma because the environments are so different.
So not trying to lock you down, and I don't expect to, but what are some of the early observations you have? Because, again, you've only been on the ground a couple of months, but early observations and maybe thoughts of directions that you want to start going down over the next couple of months. And
yeah, one of the foundational indicators of soil health is, what does our soil organic matter look like? Just because soil organic matter reaps a lot of benefits. The thing is, this is a new environment for me. It's a pretty warm environment to where I come from, and I know drought is a big deal, but it was sure interesting to me to see rain fall from the sky a couple weeks ago.
Don't get used to it.
Okay,
that's it for the year. We're done.
All right.
Not from a center pivot, but from the actual sky. Yeah.
Either way, biologically, these soils are probably active for a much larger portion of the year than as you go further north, where you get into those deep organic soils. So you maybe can't hinge all of your soil health management on just trying to build soil organic matter. So I like this idea of just soil functionality. I think that's really important, and that's not a one-size-fits-all thing. So that's going to be region by region and producer by producer. And if there's specific management tactics that we could work on or maybe play with to hit at something that builds that soil functionality, then those are things I'd like to research for sure.
You'll find that our organic matter tends to play out after about 2 inches. 3 inches. We've done a significant amount of stratification work even in long terms and just looking at that distribution pattern. Usually about you get to 2 inches deep in that you've got 90% of your organic matter in the top 2 to 3 inches, if not 98%.
But I do have to say, I mean, this was something that me and Warren had kind of talked about all the time. I spent my prior time before Oklahoma and Louisiana, and they always used to tell us you can't gain organic matter in these soils that are active 12 months of the year. And we've proven both in Louisiana and Oklahoma that's just not the case. No. It's just you got to scale your expectations on gain down a little bit. But when you look at it as a percent gain of total,
huge.
0.2% organic matter down here is gigantic.
It's all relative.
Yeah.
Moving from 0.75 to a 1 is massive.
That's massive. And we can do that still. And but you report that to national organizations or to Iowa, and they're like, you raised it 0.25%. And I'm like, yeah, but we only have 1. So that's a pretty big shift here. Like, oh, well, we can raise it 3%. And I'm like, oh, yeah, that's great. But, that's I think that's kind of what we lose at expectation, is that when practices get brought down here, it's like, oh, in Iowa, this increased organic matter or organic carbon by 2-3%. Well, you're not going to do that here. 0.2, put a decimal in front of that, and that's kind of where your expectation needs to lie. And I think that's where when that soil health movement came down here, is that expectation was still
way too
northeast, Midwest, and it wasn't in the southern Great Plains. And once we get kind of registered to that, I think we'll see there's a lot of great value in some of these soil health practices, but we have to temper those expectations a little bit down to where we need to be.
So I know you've made it out west. So you've been out to the high plains.
Oh yeah.
Have you made it east?
I have not. If I'd like an excuse to make it to the eastern border.
All right, Tuesday you're coming to help us sample.
Excellent. I'm ready. Been down to the south. Yeah. East is still somewhere I need to be. Yeah.
We're going to take a big run sampling to Miami if we can get dry on Tuesday. And you're more than welcome if you're not already headed home for Thanksgiving. So
you might bring your own vehicle. You might want to go home.
Once you find out what you're doing, you're like, screw this, I'm out.
It's really not even that. It's who you're doing it with. That's the honest
now.
truth.
Oh, it's him and me.
Yeah, it's all of us. It's not just one. The whole Sesame Street crew.
But so Danny, this is that project that I think that you'd like to have fun with. We're going out there to sample our potassium response strips in soybean, where we're pulling the 0 to 6 inch composites over 50 foot. We're pulling the 2 deep cores every 50 foot. We got the pentrometer every 50 foot. We have the Varus sled and the Varus, the soil top mapper, which is one of the aspects we're bringing back, is that I want to look at soil health properties, or whatever we want to call it, over space. So we're going to have almost by the end of it, because we're going to get sand probably for another year, but we're going to get probably another year of data. So we're going to have 8 miles of strips across the state where we can look at, how does the soil organic carbon, how does the POM, MAOM, how does the POX and these different parameters change across space, and we have yield and all the other parameters, so we can look at what's driving these parameters.
That's interesting and awesome, and unfortunately it's going to be hard to find, and I think that's the problem of soil health right now. I think there will be some patterns that you'll pick up on, but it's really hard to quantify these things. You guys all know very well. I like to think of analytical soil science as if I were to look through this window in this office, but I could only choose to look through 8 different peepholes and try to describe all of you guys. I can look through those 8 different peepholes time and time again and maybe see some different colors of different people's shirts or something every time I do that sampling, but it's really hard to correlate all those things together and get a big picture of what's actually happening in the soil. So we are working in those realms of big picture things, and it would be awesome if we can find out how organic matter might be relating to a lot of different soil quality things, and definitely soil fertility as well. But right now, analytically, we're in a season where we're struggling with that. So that's why we need more research on it. Yeah.
Just had a defense of a student who looked at different laboratory methods to measure microbial biomass nitrogen, microbial biomass carbon. And I mean, there's a lot of questions even within that. This is a whole study of looking at, as we're measuring these biomasses, do we wet the soil or we do wet dry cycle? I mean, there's a lot. I think what you're saying, Danny, is very critical. People need to know that. Is like there's a lot on the analytical side that we don't know how to do a lot yet when it comes to these parameters and how to do it repeatably. I mean, we've had some tests come out that are suggested, hey, this is a good indicator. But the variance and the variability of these results that come back on the same soil might be so high that it really makes it hard to differentiate differences.
Well, and then the interpretation of it. Like, what does it all mean? Like, in a scale that is not like a fertility scale to where you pass a threshold and you're adequate. Like, even CO2 flux. So if you want to take the easiest measure that we can possibly do and do CO2 flux, what does that mean? What's good flux? What's bad flux? Like,
how much flux can I build?
Yeah, sure. Is that a buildable feature, or is that we've shown over time that environmental conditions 2 weeks before sampling plays massively into those numbers, and so it's always a comparative value. But how much more CO2 is actually meaning that you have good diverse soil conditions, you have good.
Right.
You're building an ecosystem rather than building a factory, because that's kind of what the issue is there with that.
I think what's important about that is right now you're probably on a better bet to compare within your own system or within your own field or within a very small area. And sometimes those things like CO2 flux might be a better indicator just that something is changing more so than what does, X percent increase in CO2 flux mean. While maybe that means that this soil is building more easily decomposable carbon that's more active, that the microorganisms can chew on and mineralize more nitrogen for later in the season. Maybe those are some big picture things you can get out of that small change instead of, there are a lot of great folks working on getting toward that nugget of quantifying these things. That's probably not where I want to spend my career because I'm a coward. But,
no, that's intelligence. Yeah. That's called pure intelligence. So if a producer comes to you and says, Danny, I want to do things, do you give them target goals? Like, do you give them a range, or do you give them techniques which should be doing good things? So where does that approach come on the extension side?
That's an interesting question. I think we should probably just start with some practical things, tools that you have in your toolbox on your operation. There's these big picture fundamental ideas of soil health, or things like retain more residue and retain more living biomass, plant biomass in the soil if you can. So maybe something like a cover crop. I know Josh does a ton of work on that. Maybe, thinking about different tillage systems or different tillage options or something like that would be places I would probably start that conversation. Again, it's a little tricky. I did a lot of work in perennial grass. So the acute management options are not as varied, but it could be something as simple as how often do you irrigate, and what depths are you irrigating with, and things like that. So just thinking about your system and small ways you can tweak what you have already can maybe lead to some relatively big changes in what's happening in the soil environment, which is then driving soil microbial community, which is then driving your overall soil health.
One thing, you said cover crops, and I was interested back, northern Colorado, Wyoming, that's kind of more that cattle-driven system.
Right.
How much of an impact was things like cover crops that are being pushed really big and really productive ground?
I would say where I was, extremely small. So I'm curious to start diving into some of these topics and seeing how it works, agronomically. So, these things have to pencil out on the short term for them to work on the long term. And obviously you guys are doing a ton of good work on that. I come from irrigated sugar beet country, so that's a heavy soil disturbance system, and it's a traditionally flood irrigated system. So there was this fear of residue for sure that bred in a lot of dependence on tillage, and some things that to me I thought could have an opportunity for a cover crop. I had a couple conversations with somebody just about integrating some sort of legume, because they were organic and they were hauling manure much farther than they wanted to, and that was getting pricey. Maybe pound of nitrogen accrued by some sort of legume could be a much better economical option for them. But there's, like in Oklahoma, water is king. And it's interesting that even though in irrigated country, water is still king. So there's some fear that I may not be able to get that cover crop irrigated up before they turn off the ditches for the year.
Right.
Or perhaps, maybe that cover crop will use some moisture that I need for germination next spring. So you guys are working on that. It's obviously different in different environments, but I think sometimes those outcomes are maybe not as severe as you think they might be. So could be worth trying.
I liken the thing back to, Warren was always known as a cover crop skeptic. I would say would be the best. But he did do a good point of, like, there's some of our soils that can't store water, like right. Just physically the mineralogy of that soil, they just are not made to store 3 or 4 months worth of water. So heck yeah, use cover crops, because now you're building biomass that you can reincorporate to the soil, or you can graze that are going to use that water that's immediately available, because that's the only time.
But use it or lose it.
Yeah, you use it or lose it, and that's kind of up in your old country, in that Tacoma area. There's some of those soils that just can't hold more than a couple inches of water. That's not going to hang around on fallow ground for 3 or 4 months.
Yeah, and growing up, a lot of the soils where I live or grew up, 5, 10 CEC, very low organic matter, no clay, deep sand.
Yeah.
You got the water that day and it's gone the next.
So you might as well, because you're either that or it's gonna go up there, go down there. So you might as well use it to grow some biomass to help the system a little bit.
For those of you listening on the podcast, Josh did point up to the sky and then down to the ground.
Well, yeah. Just in case you aren't viewing this podcast on your local viewing station, but
your local viewing station.
Need to move this to PBS.
As you've made that transition from Wyoming and northern Colorado to Oklahoma, what have you seen similarities in the producers? I know you've only been here since September, but are there similarities to the approach from producers in both states?
Yeah, I think that's what's cool about ag is we all have the same goals, right? I love the focus on cattle in this state. I think the ruminant animal has a very important place in the future of our food systems and always will, and utilizing ground that's not arable.
Right.
So how to integrate that into our soil management on a bigger picture is a really important thing, I think. I'm obviously felt a little more at home when I made it out to the Panhandle and saw some sprinklers and but yeah, just the problems they're facing are totally different and very wicked problems. And water's everything, right? So I think that's something I'd like to focus on too is managing water through the soil's lens. Being part of that team here that is working on some of those things, and how do some management things on the farm maybe allow us to have a slightly bigger cushion to get through. When it's drought, it's drought.
Right.
No matter what we do with soil management, we can't avoid that. But maybe you can withstand an extra 5 days of drought or droughty period if you have something in your soil that allows it to grab a little more water and hold on to it. Then I think those would be beneficial.
Well, and I'll just say this, I know Josh and I talk about this, in the future, 20 years down the road, what does the high plains look like? How far are we when we're going, wells 200 gallon a minute? Mm-hmm. How important are cattle going to be 20 years from now in that environment? In eastern Colorado, western Kansas, northern Texas Panhandle, southern Texas Panhandle.
Yeah, I growing up on the ranch, for all the arguments that surround cattle production, at the end of the day, we should say ruminants are something that can take cellulose and digest that in a way that the human can't.
Yeah.
So to get back to those systems where you utilize the value of that to harvest a food product on that area if we're out of water.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, I think the future is there. There's a lot of opportunity for sure, just from looking from away.
I don't think it's too far away either.
I'm giving them 20 bad years. It's gonna be a long road, but circle the wagons.
What does the Bulgarian weather model have?
Maybe some runses or something just falling from the sky. I don't really know what's going on. Hurox, some meat and cabbage.
So is the Runza sandwich, is that Bulgarian? I can't remember.
No.
I didn't think so.
It's close.
Yeah.
Ish. They got something like it.
I'll interject. These are from the folks of where I'm from.
Oh, okay. Here we go.
They are German.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking.
Blood, but they lived in a region of Russia.
Okay.
And they were very tied to sugar beet production. So there's a lot of those folks in northern Colorado, Wyoming, and
Kansas, all the way across.
Nebraska,
that's the way
Kansas,
the Mennonite communities in Oklahoma. That's the way I know about them.
Yeah.
Yeah, good stuff.
We're gonna get all the calls from Bulgaria and beyond now because of
if you have viewership in Bulgaria. I will take every call, and I'll let them yell at me. It's okay.
Check out reddirtagronomy.com and where you can find the contact information.
Bulgaria is in Harry Potter. You got the Quidditch team.
There you go.
All sorts of ties back to Bulgaria. It's all going back there.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Well, that's good. Does anybody have anything else?
I think we're done.
Well, Danny, thanks for coming on with us on the Red Dirt Agronomy podcast, and welcome to Oklahoma.
Thanks so much.
And
my pleasure.
You're welcome back anytime.
Okay.
Thank you for listening in on this conversation of the Red Dirt Agronomy Podcast. And if you'd like to join the next discussion, head over to reddirtagronomy.com and you can find ways to reach us there, or you can send us a tweet. Our handle is reddirtag. Now, whenever you head over to reddirtagronomy.com, you'll find more information about our guests and any of the resources that we discussed today on the podcast. For Dr. Josh Lofton and Dr. Brian Arnall, I am Dave Deacon, and we all thank you for listening. The proceeding is a copyrighted recording of Ag Now Media, LLC 2024. And yes, all rights are reserved.